Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise with Lois Kofi. And I'm super excited to be kicking off a new month. We have some major influencers here. I'm so excited to have one of my good friends from Minnesota, Carol Kaemmerer, with us today. We're going to be talking about the best business promotion that you never have to pay for. And I know in this community of salespeople, entrepreneurs, everyone is working with a budget now these days with the pandemic, and everyone's looking for new ways, new ideas to market with excellence and professionalism. So I really wanted to focus on that this month. So you're going to be hearing from some amazing people every Friday. And I'm really excited to introduce Carol. I've known Carol, gosh, I can't remember if it's been 5, 6, 7 years. And we met through the chamber. And she just became such a great mentor and friend. I was there at her book signing. We're going to be talking a little bit about her book today. And Carol is an internationally recognized expert on executive branding. She's a professional speaker, and her book that she authored is a best-selling book called LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive. So spoiler alert, that's what we're going to be talking about today, is her expertise on LinkedIn. And I hope you guys, if you see value, if you're joining us live, you can go ahead and comment, hit hashtag live, and please share this message. Even if you aren't watching this live, if you're watching the replay, if you're catching this in iTunes or on my website after the fact, please share this with those that you know are struggling with marketing and getting their name out there. So, Carol, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. I'd love for you to share, with us your background and how did you become such an expert on LinkedIn?
Okay. Well, let me start with my why story because it's so interesting. My why is that I believe that people, regardless of their age, should be able to continue to work if they feel like they can continue to contribute to the world of work. Now, the reason I say that is that in 2008, with the big downturn economically, I saw a lot of my executive friends lose their jobs. Now, that's not really unusual, but what was so surprising to me was these were really smart people, but 9 months after they lost their job, they were saying sheepishly, well, I guess I'm retired. It was like they had no business being retired. They had so much to give, and some of them were still trying to put their kids through college, but they couldn't get traction in the world of finding a new job. And in 2011, when that same thing happened to me, I discovered why. It was while we weren't looking, the world changed the way that we access jobs. It used to be that we would spend time on polishing up a resume and picking the perfect stationery color and the perfect font for our resume. And that was our big thing that we did. And then we, sent it off one by one to people. Well, somewhere between, I don't know, but before 2008, the executive recruiters were no longer waiting on piles of resumes to stack up. They were finding people through LinkedIn digitally. And so if you don't have a good presence on LinkedIn, the people that were sourcing for high-level jobs, they just never found you. So my why is that people should be able to use this platform to make it possible for them to continue to be found for opportunities that are right for them. So Yeah, it's really important to me. And then you asked me, how did I become a LinkedIn expert? Certainly it's not what I went to graduate school to do. But what I had been doing for 20 years was marketing communications. And I was known as someone who could take very complex concepts and make them easily accessible, simple to understand. I was able to communicate in that way. And so with a clientele of one, and now a clientele of zero, then that was a problem because all of my network was inside that company. I needed a network if I was ever going to work again. So I began to study LinkedIn and to understand how to make it work optimally, to put your brand out there, to cultivate new relationships, all of that. And while I was learning, I was reaching to my clients who also had lost their jobs, my former clients, because what happened was the company outsourced the whole department of marketing communications. And so,
Wow.
I was just doing that because I thought that would be nice to do. When they began to send me their friends, I realized I had a new area of subject matter expertise, and I had also a new niche for carrying me forward in the next chapter of my own job, my own career.
I love it. I love it. And I think so many can relate to that because how many people at one point, and I haven't looked at the recent stats because, it can be kind of a downer or depressing to see how many people have been laid off this
Oh,
year. Not at all unlike you. I think at one point it was trending up 30, 40 million people, and they were saying at least 30% of those jobs would never come back again. So
yeah.
everybody's everybody's in a bind. Everybody's looking for their next opportunity. I remember my husband too. It's a full-time job looking for work.
Or it is. It is. Absolutely. But
So how do you help people? Can you share with us more on how you can work it, and maybe that tailors into your book as well?
okay. Well, let's see. I work with C-suite executives who want to attract top talent to their business, and senior leaders who want to increase their visibility and influence. And both of them want to steer their careers. And so I listen with good listening ears to their story, and I interpret their story through my lens and feed it back into their profile. And I help them to identify what their brand is. My signature approach is to ask just 3 branding questions. When you try to get at brand, you can ask 59 questions, but really nobody can remember that. So my 3, and anybody in your audience can use this, is what are the 3 things you want to be known for? What are your differentiators? What is different about you in the world of work? And then what are your keywords? So if you wrote these things down and really worked on what was the answer to each of those things, you would have a great blueprint for how to make your profile really sing. So I use those things in the headline. The headline is that little squib of text that comes under your name. And in the about section is about 4 paragraphs long now. It's 2,600 characters long, where you get to tell your business story from your perspective. And this is so powerful because we can, our business story can be our own. I mean, it is our own. And we don't have to just march along. These are the jobs I had. We can talk about our evolution and our pivot to the next thing, or whatever your business story is. People who have gone back to school, they have a pivot story. Obviously they were doing one thing and they realized that they needed some more skills to do what they really wanted to do, and they went to school and they pivoted. But when we identify three things that we want to be known for, people can remember that. If we put the three things that we want to be known for in our headline and in our about section, and we make sure that the three top skills that are showing in our skills inventory match those three things we want to be known for, that builds such a strong structure for our LinkedIn profile, and we become memorable. So
hold on
that's
one second, Carol. I just want to remind you guys, I hope you guys are taking notes. She's dropping serious nuggets here. And I just wanted to reiterate that so you guys don't just listen, you actually write this down. Sorry, Carol, go ahead, take over.
No, it's great. It's that one of the things in the headline, they've expanded the length of the headline. So now instead of 120 characters, it's 220. But I really want to caution people not to fill that up with a whole bunch of stuff, because if we mention 5 or 6 things that we want to be known for, it's not twice as good. It's not even half as good as 3 things, because people are wired to understand and remember 3 things. So really important to be focused about what message we want to communicate through our LinkedIn profile. And if we communicate that succinctly and over, but in different ways, people go, oh yeah, she's the one who 1, 2, 3. And that's what we want to create. So it can be very powerful. And in the gift that I have for you today, that is emphasized.
Awesome. Yes. And guys, please stay tuned here. Our goal is to go for 30 minutes, give or take, depending on if you guys have questions. Those of you, that's the power of this live studio audience, and part of being a part of my Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. You can ask questions. You can actually meet my guest speaker. Carol is a part of that community as well, and network with positive, like-minded people. So you said step 1 is, what are the 3 things you want to be known for? If you don't mind going on to step 2 and step 3 and kind of giving a little bit of more nuggets, that would be so amazing.
Okay, well, very good. So in the headline section, I talked about 3 things, but you should first have some functional job title. So we want to know, where would we be likely to find you? Is it in the marketing barrel? Is it in the operations barrel? Are you, chief operating officer, or are you an actress? Whatever. We need to have a place that we are likely to find you. And that's important because that's a key word. Marketing executive, whatever. We need a place. And then you can talk about the 3 things you want to be known for. Bringing value through customer focused work, attention to detail, and eye to the bottom line, or whatever, just 3 little things. And that will all fit in your 100 or 220 characters.
And let me ask you a question. Because if someone says, like, for example, I want to be known for podcasting and sales, increasing your sales results. I have those in my title, so I'm really proud. You're edifying or reinforcing rather what I've done, hopefully, right, so far. But being able to have those in there, if someone searches in the search feature too in LinkedIn, they'll find me, right?
Yes, it depends on how many times you're using your keywords. And that's why in my, 3 things that you want to be known for, or 3 things that you should be addressing with your brand as, the building blocks. What are your keywords is one of the things. So writing a list of your keywords is helpful, because then you can say, okay, for somebody who's doing what I am doing or want to be doing, these are keywords people are expecting to find those people under. So the way that someone gets found on a LinkedIn search is based on the number of connections they have and also the number of times that they're using the keyword that is being entered into the search engine. So if you only used podcaster once, would you be found under podcaster? Well, yes, you might be, 3042. But if you use podcaster a bunch, then you're likely to be found higher on the LinkedIn search.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. Cool. Well, and I know you're going to be giving away a free gift, but anything else about those three, questions that you ask people to help them with their branding on LinkedIn? Anything else that really you feel like our viewers need to hear today?
Okay. So one of the things, because LinkedIn is a search engine, it's really important that we write to the margins, so to speak. Because when we use the character count that we're given, like in the about section, we have 2,600 characters now. When we use those to write about what we love about our job or what we love about our work or our career or our direction, we're naturally going to be using our keywords, and they're going to appear in context just logically, naturally, which is wonderful because the bots are happy to read lists, but people are not happy to read lists. People want to know, what do you want to be known for? So if you were to take, we have 4 paragraphs, you could talk about the 3 things you want to be known for, 1 for each paragraph, and your points of differentiation for the 4th. Or, you could be talking in a chronological path. I came up through this industry by doing every job, from stock boy to regional manager, whatever. It just has to be logical and to be read in a way that is a story. So we want to be writing in the first person. That's really key. And then let's see, the experience section, we need to know that there are 2,000 characters for each job entry. So the reason that that's important is that it allows you to use your keywords more often if you write more. The skills section has some nuances that have changed over time. Now they show only 3 skills at the top, but you still can use all 50, you can use 50 skills, and that's the best practice. But you want to make sure that the 3 skills that are at the top are skills that you choose that go with the 3 things you want to be known for. It used to be that skills, that the order of the skills was determined by how many endorsements you got. And now you can have a totally new skill in slots 1, 2, and 3.
Wow. When did that change? I wonder why that changed. Do you know?
Yes, I do. When it was several years ago, they were asking every time you logged into to LinkedIn, would you like to endorse Lois for this, and this? Well, sometimes the skills that they recommended for you were not skills that were even on your list. They were skills that fit in that same constellation of skills you already had. And so sometimes it gets wrong. When I was working with my group and the Edina Chamber, someone who sold property and casualty insurance said, why do I have, 14 endorsements for healthcare insurance? Nobody who sells property and casualty ever sells healthcare insurance. And I said, well, LinkedIn guessed wrong about what skills were in the same constellation. And they just suggested to people that they endorse you for that, and you were casual enough to accept the endorsement. So,
Right, because you do have to accept them, right? It's not automatic.
no, you get to accept them or decline. People thought, oh, well, people think I have that skill. Well, it wasn't that they thought all that deeply. The people that endorsed you for it, they were just going with the program. So they stopped prompting you, for a couple of years. Now I've seen prompts again for endorsements. It's like, oh, don't go back to bad old days. But at any rate, now we can really pick the top three, which is a really big deal because it's like the three things you want to be known for. And when you see those skills, they should be the 1, 2, 3 top skills that you have. So many people don't know that that's changed. So
this is awesome.
Yeah. There is one other thing that I think is just a neat new feature, and it came, it was introduced like 2-3 months ago. And it is a little audio clip of you saying your name. So in order to get that, you need to be on the phone app. And that's the only way that you can create this video or this audio recording of you saying your name. So if your name is Mark Love, that's, you don't need to record that. We can figure that out. But if your name is Carol Kaemmerer, it is very helpful to, so if you go to my profile and you click right by my name on the little speaker icon, you can hear me say my name. And I've recorded Carol Kaemmerer.
And that's only on the phone app that you can actually obviously do that. And then if I go to my phone app right now and look at your profile, I can push that on my phone. Can I also do that on the laptop or computer, PC?
Yes. See, the only way you can get it to show up on your profile is to do it on the phone app. But once you've done it on the phone app, everyone else can access that little speaker icon and play it back from any device. So on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone. That's my favorite thing that they've done this year.
Well, I'm sure you know so much, and you're such an expert. I do have a question of my own, and then Anne, my good friend from Nebraska, has a question. So if it's okay with you, I took some notes of what you were talking about. You have your three things, right, that are your main three right. things you want to be known for. They're your keywords. You want to put them in multiple places in your profile. And then you said about differentiating yourself from your competition. I know there's a lot of people out there who are really humble. They don't want to brag about themselves. But would you say that in this case on LinkedIn, you kind of have to make this your brag book and show how you are different from your competition, right?
Well, I hate to say, yes, you should brag, but you should be clear about what things are different. Many people have experience in one area and another and married together. Those two areas make them a very strong, whatever they are. That's a point of differentiation. If you were born in another country and you know multiple languages, and now you are able to bring those languages to your new job, that's a point of differentiation. So it's not so much about I'm the best. It is about what is it that really makes you different?
It's like your unique value proposition or unique selling proposition I work with my clients on. Perfect.
Right. Awesome. Yes. Same deal.
Awesome. Well, I know Anne had a great question. She says, can it be useful to have a presence on LinkedIn for wellness, holistic, or healing practitioners. And kind of a segment of that, or a subset, is it better for certain professionals than others, or is it non-denominational? Everyone should be on LinkedIn. So first, answer the wellness, holistic, healing practitioners question, but I'd like to dig deeper on that.
Okay. Yes, I think that people are vetting people through their LinkedIn profile. If you're looking to work with someone, you want to see, what are they saying about themselves? This is the best business promotion you never have to pay for. This is where we get to talk about what we do. And, Facebook is kind of episodic. You're known by your posts. And that isn't really, there's not a real coherent place on Facebook that we get to learn about you as a professional. So it's not to say that you shouldn't have a Facebook presence, but that's why it's important to have a LinkedIn presence, regardless of your area of practice. I'm connected to a lot of people whose areas, are holistic in some manner. So I do encounter them on LinkedIn, and I think that you might get better engagement on Facebook, but it's important to have this as a marketing document available for people.
I would agree. I wasn't using LinkedIn a ton, to be honest with you, because that's how Carol knew me too. I came from a health and wellness and holistic space. However, I recognize what I'm doing now. I was able to, like you said, the differentiating factor, I can be a sales trainer and a podcaster who really cares about your health, not just your sales and your income, right? And so I would encourage you, Anne, and anyone, to use LinkedIn as your resume builder, as your way of showing that you're a true professional. And Facebook can always be another sandbox to play in, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. And I know you want to talk about your book a little bit here before we get too far to the end. If anybody else has any questions, if you're on the live, feel free. We can go a little bit over, but tell us more about your best-selling book. And I know you actually have a second edition coming out here in the new year.
That's true. Well, let me tell you about LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive via a client story. So Lee came to me. He had background of being a chief operating officer and also regional director of sales. He had several positions with those kinds of titles, and he was known as a go-getter, as having infectious energy, passion, entrepreneurial spirit, even though he's working in a corporation. He had a great reputation, but when he came to me, he was in trouble. He had always been able to lead teams successfully, but the new CEO in his company was changeable. He didn't have a set direction. So Lee was having trouble leading his team to victory, so to speak, because victory kept wandering across the map. And it was taking a real toll on his mental and physical health. And so the man that came to me was flat in his affect. He was able to say that people said that he was a go-getter. I couldn't tell. And he was able to tell me of his accomplishments, but there was no passion. And I'm looking for, how am I going to make this guy look great? He has good stuff, but he's like a shell. He was depressed. And finally, I said to him, Lee, do you have any volunteer activities that are important in your life? Oh my goodness, his eyes lit up and he smiled from here to there. And he told me about an international charity that he had created. and how the people in his congregation, were contributing to this international congregation. And he was the executive director of the congregation, and he figured out how to set up this charity in a foreign country. And, he just bubbled on and on. And I thought, oh, there's
Wow.
there's the spark. So I put that spark not only in his volunteer section, which you have to read pretty far down to get to, but also right in his about section, in his story.
Awesome.
Who is this man? And I was able to, put it as like the first thing that we talked about in the about section. About a month after we finished our time together, he called me and he said, "You will never guess where I'm going to work on Monday." He said an executive recruiter had found him solely based on his LinkedIn profile,
Wow.
solely based on the keywords that were used there. And he was going to be the administrative pastor of a megachurch whose multiple pastors needed organization. It was the perfect job for him. He just came alive again. And so that's what my book, LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive, is about. It is about identifying what your brand is, communicating what your brand is, and being found for your ideal opportunities. So my current book is available on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. And my second edition is in process. I'm expecting it to be available for sale through me before the end of the year, but sale on Amazon January 1st.
Awesome. And I will, guys, just so you know, I will post the link to the book in the show notes in iTunes. I will comment, put it in YouTube, all the places, all of the things, and I'll share it with you guys after the show today as well, so you guys can grab her older edition, I guess we'll call it, her first edition, and then be able to connect with her also on LinkedIn, so you guys can be able to ask for this free gift she referenced earlier. It's called the Step-by-Step Guide to Creating Your Powerful LinkedIn Profile. Do you want to say anything more about that free gift? And I'm also going to share your LinkedIn profile link so they can find you in there as well.
Yes. The most important thing to know is how to spell my name. Because when you know how to spell Carol Kaemmerer, you can find my website. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me in all the places that I live. So Carol is easy with no E at the end. And then Kaemmerer has twice as many letters as it needs. Kaemmerer. So I'd be happy to receive your LinkedIn connection request. And when you write to me, tell me that you saw Lois's podcast and that you would like my free gift, and I'll be happy to send it to you.
That's awesome. Awesome. And there was one more question. I think if you're okay with time, Carol, I have one more question for you and a couple announcements to close it out. But someone's asked any suggestions to incorporate a few careers skills together that are not same skill set into one story to promote yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the blending that I talked about. So when I pivoted the first time, after I lost my client, where I was writing about implantable medical devices, my area was marketing communications, and then here's this whole new skill area, LinkedIn. Now, how does that relate? So I worked on that for a while because it is hard to figure out, well, how do you talk about these two things? So I said, I tell business stories. And my business stories were about product. Now they're about people. So either way, I'm writing business stories. So think about that way that encompasses both of those things, because you don't want to leave any of your old skills absolutely behind. There are some things that you don't want to do again, but the experience that you had will always inform where you're going next. It doesn't have to be in a straight line, but when we honor our past, we're able to move forward in the future.
I love it. I love it because, there's so many people, including myself. Carol, you knew me as a personal trainer, and I was also a realtor, once in a past life. And because of motherhood and life and the recession, I had to pivot multiple times. I chose to pivot, or life chose it for me, and I had to figure something new out. And I know I was always, even finding the title for this podcast, I was like, what the heck am I going to call it? And then I threw my passion into it. I threw my past successes and, quite honestly, failures, and it just whipped it up in one big melting pot of what is my passion today. And just so you know, guys, that's how I came up with the title of this podcast. Even though I'm not in health and fitness anymore, it was a part of my past, and it's part of my passion that I bring forward. And someone said, so find where you have the most passion and put it in your profile. And that, I think, is a great way to kind of finish this out today.
Yes. Very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again. If you saw value in this, there's two things that I have as my closing request. You can go ahead and go to healthyandwealthyandwise.com and actually subscribe there. I will be emailing out the post-production of this episode and all of my episodes here in the coming week ahead. And you can also find Carol inside of our Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community, which I also will put in the show notes. And I do have one closing question for you, Carol, that I ask all of my guests. And so when you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean to you?
Okay, I think healthy means honoring my body by getting adequate sleep and good nutrition and movement every day. And wealthy has to do with the spirit of generosity. We all have enough for ourselves. What can we do to make our world a better place? And wise to me means living with gratitude.
Oh, that was awesome. And it's really cool because as long as I've known you, you live all of that. So you're such a good friend. I'm so grateful for you guys to have met Carol today. Please reach out to her, connect with her again on LinkedIn, and ask for her free gift. I'll share her information in the show notes as well for posterity. And just a couple of quick announcements for my community here in October. We have guests every single Friday. All of them are authors, speakers, and experts in different arenas that are going to help you be healthier and wealthier and wiser. And also, I am actually, to the theme of today, I'm actually having another pop-up podcast this month. And it's going to be about how to, generate those connections from Facebook and LinkedIn and take them off, put them into your email list, your tribe, your own fan base, if you will. And then, of course, how to build those relationships, nurture, get referrals, and monetize that list. I'll also put the information to that here in the show notes. So again, thank you guys so much for spending time with us today. Until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiskofi.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.